Welcome back to the Bryan Devore Connection. I am your host, Bryan Devore. A lot of the work I do is with seniors and their loved ones, and it involves wills, estates, trusts, things of all those natures. It's very important to have a good estate plan put together to protect you and your loved ones, but unfortunately there are circumstances where things can go a little bit sideways. And so when things do go sideways, you need someone on your side who can help navigate the whole process. So that's why I have my guest here today, Gian Ducic-Montoya, and Gian is with Chhokar Law Group. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Good, thank you. So you and I met through the Estate Planning Group Network, and when I learned about what you do, I had no idea that that type of law even exists. So your firm does estate planning, but a whole lot more. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I've just joined Chhokar Law Group, and the firm itself does estate planning and asset protection, your entire estate plan. I've actually just joined the litigation department, which I'm assisting in starting up right now. Kimberly DD is the partner, and she initiated the change and started that department, and I've joined her to
get it going.
Yeah,
so I didn't even know about litigation departments for this. I've always heard of people setting up their estate plans, and it's great. You set up your estate plan, you have your loved ones, decided who's going to get what, and so forth. But unfortunately, there are some bad actors out there sometimes, and that's where you guys come in to actually have to litigate the outcomes.
That's right.
Even though you think that these estates and their trusts are ironclad, sometimes they're not so. And so we were talking about some of the red flags that you can look for when it comes to undue influence, because there are circumstances where people are exerting influence that they should not be in this type of situation. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so the trust and estate litigation revolves around like what you said, an estate plan that's in place, and you've done all this work to leave assets to your heirs who you've decided to your whole life. Oh, my kids, my best friend, whoever's in your life and you care about, and then you pass away, and all of a sudden who you had intended is left with this estate planning, and they're just wondering, well, what happened? It's something completely deviated from what had appeared to be intended. And a lot of that is as a result of, undue influence. Somebody has come in at the end of life and unduly influenced the elder or you, or engaged in financial elder abuse, stole your assets before you passed, at a time when you're vulnerable. And so we litigate that. We try to put the rightful heirs back in place, and we try to, recover stolen funds. And then also, even if there's an estate plan that is in place and it says, as it should be, where the heirs are the intended ones, there's a trustee who mishandled money or stole money. And so we also do that. So there are, like I said, sometimes an heir or a loved one is left wondering what happened. And so if you're looking back in time, there are some red flags that an elder may be subject to undue influence. Generally it starts when an elder has a change in circumstances. So they're beginning to develop a cognitive impairment, some early onset Alzheimer's, memory problems that causes them to then rely on somebody else for help. Or they have suffered a loss of another loved one, a longtime spouse, and then that also causes them to rely on somebody for help. Generally in the situations that we see in our business is that somebody will step in to help that person, and it does seem very innocent at first. They'll start helping with going to take them to get groceries, or showing up and visiting more often, and stepping in and assisting with finances, or taking them to doctor's appointments. And oftentimes that's a shared responsibility. So other siblings or loved ones will share in that responsibility, at least initially. Where it becomes a red flag and potentially a cause for concern is where that one individual starts exerting more control over the elder. The elder gets more vulnerable, they get older, memory starts to fade a little bit more. And so we see more control happen. That person is now stepping in to pay bills, which again seems innocent, but it's when it becomes more secretive. Like, well, no, I'm handling mom's bills. You don't need to be concerned with that. Or you were formerly engaged in helping take mom to doctor's appointments. Oh, you don't need to do that anymore. I've got it covered. And then all of a sudden you're not getting information about your parents, and you're not finding out, well, hey, what's going on with mom? Or you try to call them, you try to call your parent, and all of a sudden, sister or brother are consistently in the background, and oh, mom's sleeping, she doesn't want to talk to you right now, or she's too tired, maybe try back later. It's not always a sibling, it could be a caregiver, it could be a friend, it could be anyone, you know, close, even a new friend. We've seen new friends come in and kind of just take over control. Or you show up and you want to visit, and oh, they're sleeping, and the curtains are drawn, and you're like, this is strange. Mom doesn't generally sleep. Well, maybe she's just tired today. But then that happens more on a consistent basis, and all of a sudden you're starting to feel secluded, or you notice a poisoning in your relationship when you are visiting with mom. Oh, well, you don't love me anymore because you don't call me as much as you used to, or you don't visit. And you're like, I'm trying.
You're trying.
And so, you know, all of these things are red flags, and that's where I would say people need to step in and take action. Right. Because if you see that happening, you don't want to be left at the end saying, what happened? Right. Where did that go? You know, another...
I was going to say, and also it affects the care that the person's getting as well, potentially. I would think it would be easier to deal with red flags if it's a hired person, you know, or, you know, a friend they just made or something like that. But if it's your own sibling, you know, if you know, I'm very thankful I have a sister, and she and I have a great relationship, but I could see, and I've heard of situations where, you know, I'm calling to talk to my mom and my sister is there and doing those things you're talking about. It's very awkward. You know, how do you get them out of the picture or not doing some of the things that they're doing? That's harder than if it's a hired person or something like that, where you can take more, you know, affirmative action, I guess, against that, I would think. And so what are some of the preventative things that you can do if you start seeing some of these issues arise? Yeah,
well, you're right. I mean, it is especially awkward when it's a sibling. And at first you trust them. Oh, you know, they have more time on their hands. They're doing this. They're really helping. And then you notice the control and you notice the concern. And so what do you do? And I would say get more involved. You know, ask more questions. Hey, well, what's going on with mom's finances? What can I do to help? And if you're getting pushback, you know, that's obviously, okay, you know, something's going on here. Where's mom's mail? Let me help with that. Try to talk to mom more. So even if you're getting, or dad, or whomever, even if you're getting pushback, no, I really want to talk to mom, or just show up unannounced. Because a lot of times that sibling will say, well, just check with me first. I have to get mom ready or dad ready. I have to prepare them for you. Either, you know, they're slowing down. They want to make sure that they're dressed when you're over here. And just show up unannounced. Call, leave voice messages. Let that elder know, look, I'm still in your life. I'm here, and I love you, and I want to, you know, and just be a part of it. Find out when those doctor's appointments are and show up. And just don't let the seclusion just passively happen, because that's a lot of times what I see is like, well, you know, we just didn't realize it was coming to that point, and all of a sudden there's a severance in a relationship, and that person has total control, and the elder is left without their loved ones, and they're secluded at the end, and no one wants that. No. So for the protection of the elder and the family as a unit, I would say get more involved.
And so, like I said, it affects their care potentially, and then of course it eliminates what you have set in place in the trust before your memory has gone, what you purposely wanted to have in your trust, and how you wanted people to get, you know, what you were leaving. It goes sideways, and that's where you have to come in and hopefully right the wrongs, you know, that people have done. So thank you so much for sharing all this information. There's a whole world out there that, you know, the seedy underbelly, unfortunately, of what people do out there. But it's good to know there are people like you who are protecting the families and their loved ones to make sure things go the way they're supposed to go.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us. Your information's on the screen so people can reach you if they have any questions about all the work you do, and if they have an issue, they can give you a call and get started.
All right, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.